Your natural hair doesn't need to be perfect, and neither do you. I thought my hair was the problem until I actually looked within and started to realize it was my perception and me being conditioned to society's beauty standards that was actually the problem. So let me open up about how my natural hair birthed a natural me. This process of me starting to embrace my natural hair, detached from society's beauty standards, and how it allowed me to see how certain characteristics that I had, and even just the way I felt about myself in general, how I hid other aspects of myself in general, and how it showed me that I needed to go from a life of hiding to a life of exposure and seeking. So I saw this one girl's video. She was like how natural hair, wearing her natural hair was exposure therapy, and I agree with that even more. So let me give y'all a little background. I cut my hair. I did a big chop in 2018, which was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I was tired of feeling more confident in someone else's hair and not my own. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm about to cut my hair real short, get a closely cropped cut, and I'm going to force myself to take care of my hair and learn my hair. Was it easy? No. Was it worth it? Yes. It's a journey that I'm still on, and I think I will always be on. But I learned so much about myself in this process. People bash my hair. People said, "Oh, I like your hair the other way. Wear your hair the other way. Ew, why you go? Oh no, get your doobies back. Where your bundles at? You know, I got all that type of stuff because everybody was used to me wearing 22-inch bundles, straight hair. But I realized it's so funny because the way I felt about my hair was the way I felt about myself. And I realized that the things, the traits I had to keep myself safe, the flaws, that the character flaws that I had about myself all connected to my hair. So let's get straight into it. So first things first, I was ashamed of my hair, obviously, because it was frowned down upon. 4C textured hair is not something that is praised in society. So I learned at a young age when I wore my hair out at school and people would laugh at it like it was an exhibit to keep it hidden as much as possible. It just didn't seem like my hair was good enough. So I found solace in hiding under wigs, wearing certain hairstyles that just did not expose my hair. So, in the process of me cutting it and wearing it out and persevering despite what people were saying about me, it definitely awakened something in me. I really do believe that your hair is not just hair. It's connected to your identity and the way you view yourself, the way you wear it, the way you feel about it. It all connects to how you feel about your culture. And you'd be surprised that when you start to embrace it, how it starts to change you from the inside out. So, the first thing that happened was the people pleasing. So when I detached from society's beauty standards, I also detached from this people pleasing habit that I had too. It still creeps up on me. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as it was before, like 7 years ago. So when I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna wear my hair how I want to wear my hair. That was the first choice I made. That was actually mine. Usually a lot of times my choices were influenced by stuff, influenced by media, influenced by certain things, but this was a choice that I decided to make for me. I decided to go to the hair salon and go get a cut and go get a pulverized set and cut my hair. Like I didn't know what it was gonna result in. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but it was a decision I made for me. And I kept going despite what people were saying about me. And my people pleasing habit was really on put to the test because this is what actually caused me to feel more confident in who I was and actually persevere and move forward with content creation, move forward with saying no and getting out of relationships that aren't serving me. So let me talk about how when I remember for years I was super scared to get in front of the camera like how I am now because I was insecure about my eye. I will talk about body image soon too. But I remember when I first got on the camera, face to face, up close, personal like this, I not only did I face certain things about myself I didn't like, but I faced, well, my natural hair was part of that, but I had my real hair out. Like that was something I never did. I always had weaving, braids, box braids, singly splits, but I was on that camera, no glasses on, face to face. You could see me clearly just like this. And it was in that process that I thank my natural hair for being that thing that brought me to do that. That gave me that confidence to face myself without having to wear any masks. So that's something that happened to me as well. Um, it also helped me detach from saying yes when I saying no when I was saying yes when I wanted to say no in my relationships. I started to look around and just realize that the certain things that I was accepting from people just wasn't it. Even the things I was accepting in myself. So when I no longer wanted to be a people pleaser, because I was popular for the wrong reasons, I was popular because I was fitting into society standards. I was being what everybody else wanted me to be. I was conforming into what everybody else wanted me to conform to, just like how I did with my hair. So my natural hair cutting, it was like I cut off all the lies. It was like I didn't feel like I felt like I was actually stepping into who I was meant to be. I didn't feel like how people say they cut off their hair to cut off the past and stuff like that. No, it kind of felt like I don't know. I feel like I was rebirthed. Like I don't know. It was really weird. But so now we go to this whole process with the people pleasing and how I was trying to fit internally into everybody's expectations, and how from cutting my natural hair, detaching from society's expectations with how I should wear my hair, it also trickled over into my relationships, to the point where when I graduated high school, I said I didn't want to be popular no more. I'm done. And in that process, I actually fell into a deep depression, because the people pleasing is what gave me a purpose. It's what kept me going. It's what gave me the confidence, using other people's approval to keep me afloat. So I fell into a depression, which is one of the best things that have happened to me, because in that depression is when I actually birthed my brand, Hoppin' with Hago. So let's go to another way. The natural hair birthed the natural me. I got closer to my emotions, my truth. So I talk about my father's death. I lost him in 2000. I lost my dad in 2006. I was 6 years old, and I never wanted to face his death. I kept running from it. Every time I got asked, "Where's your father?" questions, I would run. I would avoid it, and I started to feel this pressing need to go see him. And when I went to go see him, I realized how hurt I was to be a girl without a father. That experience was an experience like no other. Those gut-wrenching cries. But even though it was an emotional experience filled with emotional turmoil, it connected me deeper and deeper to my truth. Another thing I realized, how much body shame I had. My natural hair wasn't the only thing I hid. I also hid who I was, because nothing about me felt right. When you're a dark-skinned girl with 4C textured hair, I also had a lazy eye, prosthetic eye, a disformed thumb. So I did not fit society's standard of beauty at all, at all. And I was taught that and told that. So I had to not only, like the girl said, it's exposure therapy when you start wearing your natural hair, because you start seeing yourself differently. So now I was also forced to confront my body image as a whole. Why do I hide these things? Societal pressure, and how I gotta break free from it now. Just like how I expose my natural hair, just like how when I'm chasing a dream or a goal and I put myself out there, the same needs to happen with my body shame. Not hiding my thumb, no longer sitting up there like when I'm walking, I will always have my phone, covering my thumb, or try to look less lazy-eyed or less cross-eyed so I wouldn't be made fun of. So what I was put in situations where I was forced to confront it, writing about it in a memoir, becoming a teacher, where constantly kids are asking me questions, constantly kids are asking, what's wrong with your eye, what's wrong with your eye, what's wrong with your eye, to the point where it is humiliating and it hurts, but that is what actually gives you the confidence to move forward, which is actually really weird. So I was forced definitely to confront body shame too. Another thing that my natural hair allowed me to do was to start putting myself out there with my purpose. In general, remember I told you guys when I fell into the depression, it birthed Hoppin' with Hago. And like I said, I was so scared to get in front of the camera. But when I started to detach from what people expected of me, it made me make my first close-up and personal video like I am making right now. And I was mortified at first. I made a lot of content before. I was a YouTuber since 2012. And all my content revolved around what I was into at a particular time. And I was always far away from the camera, either dancing, making little tutorials. You really couldn't see my face. I had dim lighting. I was using grainy, fuzzy iPad cameras so people wouldn't see my eye and I wouldn't be made fun of. I wouldn't be ridiculed. But it was in the process of me making that first up close and personal clear video like this that actually took me forward in my content creation journey. Now I have a brand with over 12,000 supporters. So my natural hair just helping me detach from beauty standards and beauty shame. I mean, shame. It doesn't mean that I still don't struggle with this stuff today, because I do. But what it means that is if I listen to those things if I listened to those insecurities and listened to those voices in my head that told me I wasn't capable of being in front of the camera because I didn't fit the beauty standard, that told me that my hair was ugly, that told me that my hair was horrible, I would not be here today. And how is it that the natural hair did it? Because it was exposure therapy, taking that time to address my culture. And I also became more sensitive to my culture, what the people in my culture went through, because I suppressed a lot of African American history because I didn't want to face it. To be honest, I was living it every day. I was going through racism and colorism at the school I was going to with predominantly Hispanics. So I was reminded every day, of course not to the magnitude of my ancestors, but I was reminded every day that being me was wrong. So a part of me, it was like I didn't want to face it, but also I didn't want to soak in it and drown in it and actually face the reality of it more. But when I started to tap into my natural hair, I also started to face my history and empathize and learn about where I came from, studying black hair, studying the hardships that we faced, studying the accomplishments that we went through. Like, I really started to sensitize to the things that my people have faced and the accomplishments that my people have went through. I'm going to tell you guys another thing too. I became aware of my Europeanized mindset. So I would never forget, oh my God, my junior year of high school, we had to write this prologue. I think it was called a prologue. All of my characters were white. There was no characters that were black that looked like me. I didn't even realize at the time how when I wrote this story, all these characters had blue eyes, green eyes, white, long hair, blonde hair. Like, and I'm a black girl writing this. But that goes to show the influence of the books I read previously. And don't get me wrong, I'm not coming for the authors or anything like that, because I love a good book. But I was conscious of the way that my mind was Europeanized. I was starting to become conscious of how women that looked like me were shown in the media. I was starting to become aware of the pain that I felt from being a black woman. What I once tried to hide, I just started to face. I started to become more blunt about the hardships I went through, more blunt about how this stuff actually really did affect me, how I wanted to be somebody else when I looked in the mirror because being me just didn't feel safe, how I wished I could be the beauty standard, how I wish I could fit into that mold. And how when I saw a woman that did, I wanted to be them, So I started to face some scary things about myself too, but it all started from wearing my natural hair. I would not be here if I didn't start wearing this is a wig, by the way. Oh, it's a natural hair wig, but you can see my natural hair on my other videos. But it started from wearing my natural hair. So I just want to share that with y'all. Y'all ever watch, it was called Napoli Ever After on Netflix, and you guys saw how, I forgot the name of the girl, I think it started with an N, but she was so obsessed with her hair. Like, when it would rain, and I went through this too, this was another thing, when it would rain, she would like freak out. She always was flat ironing her hair every morning. She couldn't even enjoy experience with her husband, being intimate with her husband, because she was trying not to make sure her hair was out of place. Like, she wouldn't let her hair down. That actually became a problem in her relationship. And she experienced when she went from wearing straight hair to cutting her hair. She got flirted with less. But she felt this freedom. She felt kind of locked up when she was wearing her hair straight all the time. And I could agree with that too. I mean, I wasn't as uptight as she was, but see, now when my natural, I can go out and if it rain, I ain't freaking out, or it gives you this liberation, because you don't have these tight braids all the time, or you don't have to you don't have to worry about the shame of, like, when you take your weave out and not liking your hair, because you're actually starting to take the steps to take care of it. The weave is not the mask or the idol. You wearing them Brazilian bundles, you're not gonna feel African American. You're gonna feel Brazilian. You gonna feel like, you know, you gonna feel Brazilian. So people don't understand that the way you wear your hair starts to influence your mind. So it's so crazy. I went through that process too, that liberation, but you know, of needing our hair to be perfect and pressed, and you know, your hair, as long as it looks presentable, but it doesn't need to be like this perfection that we're trying to achieve. And a lot of times you'll realize, because I have suffered with perfectionism too, and I still got to work on that to this day, but my perfectionism was also prevalent in my, you know, my appearance and the way I saw myself, my work, my abilities, you know, and I had to break that mold. And it all started with my hair. It all started with my hair. And at the end of the video, and at the end of the movie, Napoli ever after, she found this, she had this newfound freedom, and she was starting to see how wearing her hair straight was literally affecting how she was living her life. So I say it again, your hair is not just hair. It is a reflection of your beliefs, your perspectives, and how you feel about your culture, man. So I just want to say that I am so grateful for my natural hair experience, and I encourage all of you women, black women, to go on it yourself. I'm not saying to wear your hair out all the time, but I encourage you to give your hair a chance. You won't regret it. It's your girl Hazel signing out.